In this tutorial, we're going to look at starting a new score, adding notes into your score with flexi time, step time, mouse input, QWERTY keyboard entry, photo score, audio score, and MIDI file and music XML import and export. We'll look at the different options found in the File tab, and we'll look at ways to work with your score. So the first thing I want to do is bring up our new score dialog. Sibelius has already been opened, and I just want to show you one quick trick. If we go into Sibelius, into Preferences, and if we scroll down to Other, to stop the Sibelius 7 startup music, just uncheck Play Music. Now Sibelius will start up silently without the Sibelius 7 excerpt. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go over here to New Score. Now you can see here listed down all the preset manuscript papers. Now these are different instrumental groups, brass trio, saxophone quartet, all subcategorized into different sections. So we've got choral there, handbells, jazz, Latin, different marching bands, orchestral scores, rock and pop, solo instruments. These are fantastic because I can go straight in and start working on a score with this particular instrumental setup. But often much more useful is the ability to go in and create your own instrumental group with a blank manuscript paper. So that's what we'll do now. So here I am in the new score dialog. Here I can set up my paper size, all the normal European and American sizes. I can set whether portrait or landscape. I'll stick with portrait. Now I can also change my house style. Now the house style is information including fonts and text styles that will be used to create the look of your score. For example, a real book style score will maybe use Jazz Ink Pen or Jazz Opus. But for this score I'll just click Keyboard Helsinki and Georgia, and that's going to set up our house style. Might also be worth noting at this point that there are 5 main Sibelius fonts: Opus, Ink Pen 2, Helsinki, and Reprise. Now depending on the type of score you're going for, the look of the score you're going for, you may choose to use any one of these. We can now set up the instruments that are going to go into our score. Now you can see here the Add and Remove Instrument dialog. Now I can search for particular instruments just by typing, and it'll give me the various different ones for various different languages. Or I can go through each section and just click or double click to add instruments to my score. I can also add keyboard instruments just by double clicking. Now you'll see that automatically a piano A and piano B, or left hand and right hand, are added to the score, basically indicating a grand staff has been added. So we have acoustic guitar notation, acoustic guitar tablature, piano. Let's add in there some woodwind. So let's have tenor saxophone and alto saxophone. Sibelius will automatically set up the order of the staves in score by what it thinks is the most common or the default settings. You can, however, if I click on the piano, use the up and down buttons to change the position of the scores or change the order of the staves in the score. But we'll go with the default for now. Click OK. And you can now see a basic representation of the instruments in my score and roughly how it's going to look. If we wanted to change the house style at this time, we can do. Change to Reprise or to Opus. I think I am actually going to change it at this time and go back to Unchanged, which is the default. So if I scroll down in this window here, I can now choose my time signature. All the normal ones are covered. However, if I want to get extreme, I can do and create bars of up to 126 over 64. It sounds ridiculous, but actually it does have its place in Sibelius because sometimes you may want to create a cadenza bar, and this is a really neat way of making really huge odd time signature bars. But for now, we'll stick with 4/4. Scroll down a little bit more, and I can set up my anacrusis or my upbeat bar. These can be added later on, but it's often, if you think you're going to want an anacrusis or a pickup bar, it is often useful to add it at this stage. It can make life a lot easier. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have our tempo. Now I can choose to add a metronome mark and or the Italian terminology. I won't particularly for this score, but let's set it up for crotchet equals 120. I can just type in there. And that will be added to my score in all of the positions that Sibelius thinks is relevant. This is often at the top left of the score and also above the piano part. Scrolling down further, we have our key signatures. Again, all the normal ones are there. Major sharp, major flat, minor sharp and minor flat. We'll stick with something fairly simple. And now I can choose to add information to my score that will then be displayed on all my parts and on my main score. So I can add a title. I can add the composer. I can add the lyricist. I can also choose to create a title page. Now, in versions of Sibelius gone by, once you created a title page, it was very difficult to remove it. This has changed quite a lot in Sibelius 7, but at this time I won't bother to create a title page. I can also add other information like a header or a footer and various copyright information if I want to. Then I just hit create and it takes me into my first score. I can scroll down, I can see that my lyricist and composer information have been added. Title's up there, my tempo information is there, and my score's beginning to take shape. Let's add some notes to our score now. There are lots of ways to do this in Sibelius. The most basic one, and the one that's often overlooked, is QWERTY or keyboard entry. The buttons on the keypad are a direct representation of those on your numeric keypad on your extended keyboard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So all I have to do is define the bar I want to add notes to, define the length, and type A to A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And again, if I want to change my note type, I can either click on the keypad over here or I can do it with the keyboard. And Sibelius will keep adding bars or measures, depending on where you're from, to accommodate the notes I play. One of the most useful features though is Command Z to undo. I can also add notes using the mouse. This still uses the numeric keypad to define the length of the notes, but I literally just click, change the note duration, change it back again, and again hit the escape key, and I can delete everything that I've added. Now you'll have noticed there that sometimes some notes will be engraved underneath. In note entry, if I just hit the letter N, it takes me straight in to note entry mode. Two taps on the escape key will get you out of any mode you're currently in, which is very, very handy and probably one of the most important things to remember. If you get cornered or if you get into a place where you can't work out what's going on, double tap the escape key a couple of times. So that's note entry via the QWERTY keyboard or via the mouse. Here's how to get rid of some of that notation. Select a bar, hold down the shift key, select that one and delete. Gets rid of all the notation in the selected area. I can also add notation in what we call step time mode. Now step time is very much like QWERTY or mouse entry as it uses the note duration from the keypad, but I add the notes from the MIDI keyboard. Now, no matter what duration of note I play on the MIDI keyboard, it will still only produce the note length that I've defined on the keypad. For example, if I play more than one note, it produces me perfect chords. And again, if I choose to, I can now go in and hit delete to remove that notation. Now at this stage I get a warning. Because I've selected all the bars of this particular instrument or this particular hand of the piano, it gives me the option. Do I want to just delete the notation from the bar, or do I want to delete the bars themselves? All I want to do is delete the information within the bar. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.